Welcome back to another test shoot video. I'm Angus from AngusDriving.co.uk. I'm currently just parked around the corner from the Currie test centre in Edinburgh. I don't want to get in anybody's way at the moment because tests are currently in action. So I'm going to start this video on the move going past the test centre. Today we're going to look at a test shoot which involves quite a lot of back roads. There'll be a few meeting places and areas where, yes, the speed limit may be national speed limit, which would be 60 for a car, but we'll work out what would maybe be suitable depending on what we can see. So let's get into it, and yeah, we'll see what we get. Let's go. So if you've been practicing in the Currie area, you will probably recognise where we are. We're just literally around the corner from the test centre. I'm going to loop round just past the test centre here as we begin, and yeah, we'll go past the edge of the car park. So some tests could end with this. We're going to be turning right into this road. Come up, it's quite parked up, so I'm just going to check my mirror. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to go into first. It looks okay, so I'm going to go through. I just don't want to rush that in case someone's coming towards me. I'm going to turn right into here. So I'm going to do the interior mirror, right door mirror, signal right. Because this gas fan's kind of opposite the junction, I'm going to cut this corner when I can see that it's clear, because it's going to be quite tight. And I'm just watching what these people are going to do. They're going to stay still, because if they did start to cross, I would give way to them. So I gave them an opportunity to go there by sort of pausing, but yeah, they decided just to sort of not look at me and stand looking at the grass. I'm going to follow the road round here. From the car park there on the right is maybe where you would start. So I'm coming round and I'm going to have a look up through the road here. At the end of the road, I'm going to turn to the right. So I've got to be careful to make sure I get back to my side of the road. So I'm checking mirrors as I come over, and then mirror signal to the right. I'm neat with this line. I'm braking gently. I'm going to go down. I'm in first. I'm going to find my biting point as I edge forwards here. I'm edging forwards, looking past these parked cars to see what it looks like. It looks okay, so I'm going to make my move and off I go. Along here at the roundabout, I'm going to go straight on, following the road ahead, second exit. So if you're going straight on at your average roundabout, you'd expect the left lane to go straight on. There'd be no signal, just a signal to leave. So as I approach, I'm going to check my interior mirror. I'm going to come off the power. I'm going to brake lightly. I'm already in second gear. I'm happy with what I see, so I'm going to stay left. In this case, yes, I will drive over this sort of gravel that's on the road. Don't let that put you off. I'm just going to stay left. For when it's time to leave, mirror, signal to the left. And then follow this left curve as I come round. Looking up here, it looks okay. There's a bus coming towards us. There's a learner further up there parked. I'm maybe going to just check my mirror and stay back here, because I don't think, because the bus is so big, I think it's going to be, well, the bus is going to let me come through. It's going to be a wee bit awkward in there, so I'm going to be careful that I don't rush in. I know I've got right of way, however, it's going to be tight at the back with that learner car, so it might be easier for the bus just to come out. So yeah, that was a bit awkward. So I'm going to check mirror as I come back here. That's the thing with these housing estates, it can be quite awkward, so really just trying to take your time. Along here, I'm going to take the road on the right where that car's just come out from. So I'm going to do interior mirror, right door mirror, signal right. Now there's a van that's parked on the junction here, which might make this quite narrow. So I'm sort of slowing down and I'm looking, there's a skip as well. I'm going to go down into first gear and I'm going to have a look into this road before I actually enter it. It looks okay, so I'm going to enter into the road. Because that then turns into being very narrow, I need to know all the way down as far as I can see there, really, if there's anybody coming up, because I'm going to be entering this road and then just driving on the other side of the road as I drive down, and it would be wrong of me just to swing in without looking. Because the road disappears down here, I'm going to check interior mirror, left door mirror. I'm going to come back to here before I decide to go past these. Looks okay, so mirror. The reason I've come back there is somebody could arrive quite quickly unannounced around that corner, so I'm checking mirrors as I go back. It's just trying to keep yourself in the right place in these housing estates so that you're sort of keeping yourself foolproof. I'm going to find a safe place to pull up and stop on the left. So I'm going to do the interior mirror, left door mirror, signal left. I'm braking gently. I'm going to bring it in beside this curb and I'm going to stop here. So you're going to get this about 4 or 5 times during the test, and then you'll just be told to pull away and drive on again. What they're looking for is where you can pull up. You could select a suitable place to pull up and stop. So somewhere that's not going to cause a problem, that you could leave the car here for the day. I'm not blocking anyone's driveway, and I'm not opposite a parked car or opposite a road. So when you're ready, off you go. So I'm going to go into first gear. I'm going to check interior mirror, right door mirror, right shoulder. All looks good, so I'm going to put a signal on and release my handbrake, and off I go. If it didn't look okay, I'm not going to go, I'm not going to signal, I'm just going to sit still. Because the road curves round here, I'm going to check interior mirror, left door mirror once I've passed that van. I'm going to come back over to here to do my best to see through here. For what I can see, it looks okay, so interior mirror, right door mirror as I make the move back out. As I continue along here, I'm going to have a look through. It looks okay. After this vehicle, I'm going to check mirrors as I come back. So mirror, and just come back to my side of the road. And then before I go around this car, looking sort of between the car and the pavement, it looks okay. So interior mirror, right door mirror as I go back out. This car should give way, but I'm aware of it. I'm checking mirrors just as I come back to my side to decide if I can go past this final car of this road. So checking mirror as I go out. At the end of the road, I'm going to turn to the left. So mirror, signal. Now before the curb curves, I'm going to do light braking, clutch into first, and then I'm going to follow around with the shape of the curb, and because it's uphill, I'm going to set my accelerator and bring my clutch to the biting point. I'm happy with what I see, so I'm going to continue on. This is all still 20 as I go down here. This is the a lot of test shoots will start by going down this road, so you've got to be very careful you don't tip over 20. At the beginning it's not too bad because there's speed bumps, but once the speed bumps run out, because after this next speed bump they run out, you'll find that some of the cars that you're maybe following will decide to sort of, not maybe stick as closely to 20, so some of them will go, speed up, so you've got to be careful you don't go way above or above at all. So further down it goes into a 40. Until then I'm just sort of regularly checking in on the speed, especially as it goes downhill here, because it's very easy for this speed to start picking up. And then shortly it's going to go into a 40, so as long as no one's overtaking me, I can check this mirror, that mirror. It's unlikely with that car coming towards me. I'm able to accelerate gently up towards 40. I am going straight into corners, so I'll maybe limit how fast I go. I just want to be going at a speed that I feel comfortable going around the corners, but if there was something happening further down here, if the traffic was queuing up or whatever, I could easily stop. The road sort of disappears around the corner here. I'm not sure exactly what's happening around there, so I'm going to check my interior mirror just to update, and I'm going to just let go of my accelerator just as I have a look around, and I'm happy with what I see, so I'm going to accelerate. Again, I'm looking for anything that could be causing problems, queuing traffic, maybe a cyclist, something like that I might have to take further sort of action, whether it be slowing down or actually stopping. Down at the bottom of the hill here, we're going to come to a roundabout. I'm going to go straight on second exit. Looking at the sign, it's a wee bit covered, but there's no right turn on the roundabout. So I'm going to check my interior mirror, I'm going to start to brake. I'm going to lower the speed down to 20 before it curves. Because there's no right turn on the roundabout, it's likely to be marked in the right lane to go ahead, which it is. So I've got my speed down to 20, I'm looking at the roundabout, the other cars are on the outside now, so I'm happy to go. I'm going into second gear, clutch up, and I'm going right lane to the right lane as I go out. Once I've come round here and it's time to leave, I've sort of brought myself around, so I'm aiming at my exit. I'm going to check mirror, and signal to left, and I'm going to then move across to left as long as I'm happy with what I see in the mirrors. Providing that everybody is following the rules there, that should always be clear to move across to left. If somebody's breaking the rules though, of course I might have to react to that and not move. Straight on, following the road ahead, second exit, there's no right turn on this roundabout. Checking my mirror, braking, getting the speed down to 20, having a look at it. I'm not sure with that lorry because it was kind of in the middle, so I'm going to take my time with that. I'm going to go down into my first gear position. It now looks like it's going out, but its position wasn't really sort of clear, so I was just being careful with that. Checking mirror, signal, and then out I go. At this next roundabout that I come up to, I'm going to continue straight on, following the road ahead, second exit I can take, because you can't go into the first exit to the sort of bus park and ride. I wouldn't be allowed to go into it. It's marked in the right lane to go ahead, so I'm checking mirror just as I move into this lane, and I'm going to do gentle braking, and I'm going to be queuing up here, so I'm going to be braking, clutch down into first, and stopping so I can still see road between me and the vehicle in front. So this roundabout marked in the right, but there's no clues on that one, so it does have a right turn. So I would hope that if the examiner was directing you here and it was queued up, they would have to tell you that it was marked in the right, because the road markings would be hidden. If alternatively you came along here and there was nothing on the road in front of you and the road markings were very easy to read, then the examiner would hope that you would see that and react to that appropriately. Okay, so off we go, acceleration on the bike, and we're going to continue on. This is a spiral roundabout, so I'm in the right lane here. Traffic lights remain green, so I'm going to go out. I'm going to stay with the roundabout as I go round. That's the exit I can't go into, so that's the first exit. This is my exit here. I'm going to do mirror, signal, and there's a spiral. It'll move me out and it'll take me to my exit. It then goes into a 30 here. Okay, I'm not going over 30 because I'm just on the roundabout. And then getting a bit overgrown, it goes into a 40 here. So with it being 40 here, 40 should be repeated regularly throughout this road. With things being quite grown up, some of the signs are a wee bit hidden, but if you can try and remember some of these bits. I know that's not so fair to try and remember things, but but being aware that you've gone through that 40. So going down the hill here, I'm not really accelerating. At the moment I'm in third gear and I'm just not accelerating at all, and it's pretty much staying at 39. So yeah, I'm happy at that. I don't really want to push like 39, 40 is perfect. Now the road disappears around here. I'm not sure what's happening around there, so I'm going to check my interior mirror. Nobody's following me. I'm going to brake lightly just in case anything was queued up around the corner. Just watching this lorry, it's coming on onto my side of the road. This sign tells me that the road narrows, so I'm braking, working out what's going on. It looks okay, it's a wee narrow bridge, but it looks okay for me to continue through, so I'm going to centre myself. Up here, I'm going to default back to the left, and that's going to include driving through this cycle lane. I'm not totally sure why they've painted it, but basically if you stay out of that cycle lane, you're going to be in the middle of the road. The road follows round to the right. Checking my mirror again because I'm not sure what's round there, and I'm coming round slowly and the traffic lights are here and they're at red. So I'm going to do gentle braking, remaining in this cycle lane, and I'm going to be stopping so I can still see the back wheels of this vehicle in front touch the ground. Going into first, it's beginning to go, setting my accelerator, lifting the clutch, and away I go. So because that cycle lane has a dashed line, you are allowed to drive in it. And basically, yeah, if you don't drive in it, like imagine a car coming up the road towards us at the moment that avoided that cycle lane on that side, they would be, yeah, we would overlap, we wouldn't be able to pass each other. So 40 should be repeated on this road as we go around. From memory, there are some repeaters coming up, but there should be a few more, like it should be more regular. So you'll see on the right side of the road there, you'll see a small 40 there, just reminding you that this road is all 40. Of course, if you did come up the road here behind the cyclist, you would just do what you normally do. If it was suitable, you could check the mirrors and go round them, giving them plenty of space. If it was going into a corner or something and you couldn't see, you'll have to remain behind the cyclist until you've got like a good view, a good enough view to make your decision. So I'm just making sure, regularly checking on the speed here, I'm getting up towards 40 but just not going over it. Further along here, the road just disappears. So I'm going to check my mirror and I'm coming off the power, and I'm actually going to brake because I'm not sure what's around there. I've got a sign saying there's traffic lights, but for all I know, it could be like stop traffic again. Looking into here, I saw the glimpse of a red light there, so yeah, traffic lights are going to be red. And also on the right there's a 30 miles an hour sign, there's one here on the left. So I'm going to check my mirror because I know I'm going to be slowing down, and I'm braking. I'm going to go clutch down to first, stopping so I can still see road between me and the vehicle in front. So what I'm checking for in the mirror there is there a reason I need to alter the way I brake? So if I looked into my mirror and I had someone driving very close to me, I might start to brake earlier but more gently, just to space it out. Okay, so off we go. So I'm just checking mirror, just checking behind me and to my right before I start to pull away, to check if anything like a motorbike or a cyclist is maybe going to be coming up the side of me. So remember, it changed into 30 there. I'm checking I don't go over 30. I'm just sort of making my way along here. At the end of the road here, we've got like a wee slip road. Now it's not as big or as long as going on to something like the bypass or a motorway, so you may actually have to stop. The road goes into a 40, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to check my mirror and I'm going to slow it down slightly, and I'm going to go down into second gear. Now I've got the car down to 20 here and I'm not accelerating at the moment, I'm just letting it roll, and I'm going to have a look to see what's happening. Now there's a few things coming, so I'm going to pop a right signal on and it looks like I'm going to have to stop. This is unusual, normally you can do this without stopping. It is just so busy. So a combination of looking over my shoulder and my mirror, there's quite a lot of traffic coming up here. And then there's maybe a gap coming up here because it's all queuing. I can just squeeze out here. There we go. I've popped out. So as it all queued up, there's a gap between me and the taxi coming up that I could get into without getting in the way of the taxi behind. But if not, I would just have to wait. So normally it's normally not quite as busy as that. Normally if you slow down, there might be the odd sort of wee batch of traffic going past, but you will then be able to like pop in with it as it goes. That was an extreme example. But yeah, weird because it's a slip road that you may actually have to stop at. So the traffic lights have been green for a bit. They could change to red, so I'm thinking about that as I approach. I'm going to check my interior mirror, and they have gone red, and I'm just going to do some light braking as I come up. And again, I'm just going to be stopping so that I can see the road between me and the vehicle in front. And then I'm going into my first gear position. This road's all 40 going along here, and yeah, some of the other traffic around you will sort of drive quite quickly, so again, you've got to be quite strict and sort of make sure that you're paying attention to your speed and not just following with the person in front, because it'd be an awful shame to pick up the speed with the person in front and then realise that you're going sort of, at 45, 50, Yeah, because yeah, that would result in probably the test not being successful, depending on how fast you actually went to. If you did find yourself tipping over the speed limit, check your interior mirror and then just use your brake gently to bring it down smoothly, and do that as efficiently as you can, and then yeah, that's you doing your best. So further along here, we're going to be turning off this road into a road that's signposted for Rodding Law. Now obviously you could be following a sat-nav at this point. I find it quite difficult doing the videos with the sat-nav because the sat-nav starts speaking and I sometimes get either I interrupt the sat-nav or the sat-nav interrupts me. But yeah, if you're following a sat-nav, it would maybe tell you along here that you're going to be turning left. So soon you'll see a sign for Rodding Law. Now what we've got along here is, it used to be that the junction used to be like a very wide open junction, almost like a slip road going into it. But they've hatched that area off now, so you're not to go into the area they've hatched. So I'm going to be turning left here for Rodding Law. So I'm going to do interior mirror, left door mirror, signal left. Now you'll see in the left there, they've hatched off the area. The car in front like clipped it. You mustn't touch it, okay? So I'm braking gently, bringing my speed down, treating this solid line like a curb. I'm going into second gear, clutch up, and I'm just going to follow around with it. This, as we go in, you'll see the national speed limit sign there, the white circle with the black diagonal line. That would be 60 miles an hour for a car. The reason it doesn't say 60, which you might have learned in your theory test, is it's different for different vehicles. It's all to do with your weight. 60 would be very fast to go into this blind corner where it's quite narrow. So I'm going to check my mirror and I'm just coming off the power. Currently I'm doing 25 and that feels very good. And I'm happy, so I can accelerate. So yeah, I'm going there to speed that if it was all queued up, I could stop. I'm going to turn left at the end, so mirror, mirror, signal. You'll notice the stop sign up on the left, stop on the road, and a solid line. So this is a stop junction. So smooth braking, clutch into first, roll to where you can see, and come to a complete stop. If you're happy with what you see both ways, then on you go. You must stop at a stop junction. As we drive along here, I've got another sign to say the road narrows. You'll see that appear that sort of pinches up there. So I'm looking ahead, I can see where it narrows. I'm going to check my mirror because I may have to sort of slow down, stop or anything. It actually looks okay at the moment, like this narrow bit, there's nobody coming. And there's not marked up as anybody's right of way. So I'm just sort of making my way through. There's a cyclist ahead, and looking ahead, it looks okay to go past the cyclist. So I'm going to give the cyclist plenty of space. So I'm going to check interior mirror, right door mirror, moving nice and early, a nice smooth line. I'm going right over to the other side of the road to give them plenty of space. I'm then checking interior mirror, left door mirror to account for the cyclist before I come back in. And I'm beginning to build the speed here because this is a bit more suitable. I can see a bit more. So currently I'm doing 45 and that feels okay. I could easily stop within the distance I can see. Further up, I've got a narrow bridge, but on the left, I've got a thing to tell you about the priorities. I've got the big arrow, so it's my right of way. There's nobody coming through, so I'm checking mirrors, and if anybody does arrive, they should give way to me. I've got parked vehicles on my side and it narrows, so I'm checking my mirror and I'm going to slow it down, and I'm going to have a look over this rise before I commit. And for what I can see, it looks okay. So I'm checking mirrors before I move out. Quite awkward with where that van is. What I don't want to do, I'm just checking mirror, mirror before I go back. What I don't want to do is commit and move out too early. Find a safe place on the left to pull up and stop. So I'm just going to do mirror, mirror signal. I'm just going to bring it into the side here. I'm just going to stop beside the grass. Okay, drive on again when you're ready. So clutching into first gear, checking mirror, mirror, right shoulder. I'm happy, so I'm going to do a signal and then off I go. Now they're going to pull you up about 4 or 5 times at the side of the road while you're out and about. And yeah, that's just routine. Sometimes if you do a manoeuvre, it might involve pulling up before you do it. For example, parallel parking or something like that, and they might pull you up and then tell you to use the car in front to parallel park around. It's not a trick, and there will be a space to do it. Again, I'm building my speed up here because I could easily stop within the distance I can see. 60 would be too fast. I'm up at, again, 40 I was on that straight, and that felt fine. At the end of the road, turning right. So interior mirror, right door mirror, signal right. And then I'm braking gently as I come up. And I'm going to go clutch down into 1. And I'm just rolling up with the clutch down in first gear. And it's very blind. The wall on my left is making it very difficult to see. The bushes on the right. So I'm going to have to let it bulge slightly out the junction. And a combination of letting it bulge out and me leaning forwards, I can now see with a unobstructed view both ways. I can see that it's clear. So I'm happy, so I'm going to the accelerator and guide the clutch, and away I go. So as I go along here, building the speed again, Further up, I've got a parked car on the right. It could have like activity around it. It looks all shut, but say the door was open, or say I could see the back of it was open, I might think there could be someone around there. It could be a dog walker, like loading their dogs and things. So yeah, now there is a pedestrian walking on the other side with a dog, and there's a car coming, which that's going to make that car come out. So I'm going to check my interior mirror, and I'm just going to come off the power so that this car gets through, and that way I can time it. I saw up the left between the hedge and the thing, I saw a van coming, which should appear shortly, but at least I know that's coming. And you're doing your best, just sort of trying to pay attention for any movement that you might see, because that might help in regards to you knowing what's coming. So I've got an exclamation mark on a sign saying Blind Summit. I'm going to check my interior mirror, no one's behind me, I'm braking, working out what's happening, and as I come around here, I'm going to go down into second gear because there's a horribly narrow bridge and it's blind. Now there's no way to do this, like, you know, there's no way to tell if anyone's coming. I'm just going very slowly, ready to meet someone. It looks okay, and I'm going to be turning left. So mirror, signal left. I'm just going to be turning into this road here. This looks okay. A sign that's a wee bit tucked up there telling you the road narrows ahead again. So yeah, basically every time you see that, you're working out what narrows, what's the situation. So I can see it sort of pinches up down here. So I'm checking my interior mirror, and I'm just coming off the power, and I'm just lightly on the brake there, just coming round. Like we saw earlier there with the pedestrian, because there's no pavement, if there is anybody walking here, they are going to be on the road. So easily you could easily come around that corner and have somebody on the road in front of you. Which yeah, might be okay for you to go around, it might be you've got to stop. So it's just, yeah, making sure that you're always coming into these bits at a speed that you could easily like react. Because currently I am doing 32 miles an hour, and that feels absolutely fine along here. At the end of this road, I'm going to turn to the left. So I'm going to do interior mirror, left door mirror, signal left. I'm doing my gentle braking, and then I'm going to go clutch down and into my first gear position, and I'm stopping so I can still see a bit of road. If I could fit up there, I would go, but I think with the sort of branches and stuff sticking out there, I think I would catch them going through. So I'll just wait at the moment. Now this road that I'm going on to can be a very fast road, so I'm looking to make sure that, because it's a fast road, I'm looking to make sure that I get an appropriate gap. So there's a van coming. I know you can't see because the camera's facing that way. Basically, it's a corner I'm looking at, and I would say ideally I almost want there to be nobody in sight when I go, unless it's something that's very slow like a tractor. So it looks like after this vehicle it's going to be okay. So when I go, I'm going to chase that car. I'm going to try and get up to the same speed as it, or towards that speed, unless it's driving really inappropriately. If I can use that as a marker and sort of try and keep up with that car, anything new that comes up behind me, I should be able to stay ahead of. This road's 50, so I've got myself up to 50 there, and I'm just making sure I don't go over 50. Further along here, we're going to be turning to the right. The sign's a bit covered by the bushes there, but yeah, that's the sign to say it's coming up. So we're going to do interior mirror, right door mirror, signal right. There's then a boxed area coming up. I'm going to wait till the hatch is finished, and I'm going to enter the box here. I'm going to go in and along, and get it nice and neatly over to this side, and it looks like we're going to have to give way, so I'm going into first gear. I'm moving forwards to the centre of this road, lining up with my knee. I'm happy when the centre of that road lines up with my knee. If I do all my steering, that's going to take me in nice and neatly. National speed limit sign on the left there, so 60 would be the speed limit. It looks good. It's a wee bit nicer than the other road we were on there, a wee bit sort of smoother and just a wee bit wider. So yeah, I'm up now towards 45, and that feels absolutely fine. Of course, if I saw a cyclist, a horse rider, a pedestrian, or anything happening, and yes, I would adjust my speed accordingly to that. Further up the road just disappears. So I'm going to check my interior mirror, and I've just let go of the power. Because it's uphill, the car should start to fall in speed, and I'm going to go into third gear before going to the corner. Looking through, there's no cyclist, no horse rider or anything. So I'm happy to start pushing the power again. So basically the speed I was taking the car down to there was at a speed that if I had come around the corner and for whatever reason I needed to queue up and stop, I could do so. The view disappears again, checking my interior mirror, lifting off the power so the speed settles so I can see. It looks good, so I'm pressing the power again. So you get a lot of people who fail on these types of roads for going too slowly and too quickly. Currently I'm doing 45 and that feels fine. Like I've got the flow, but I don't feel like inappropriate. Up here it disappears, I'm off the power, the car is falling in speed. It's now down towards 35 and I'm happy, so I'm going to power again. So by the time it got to 35 there, that was just as it was all getting quite blind, but I could still see, I could easily have stopped within the distance I could see when I was doing 35 miles an hour. If I didn't feel like I'd stop, I would need to lower the speed more. So this one's maybe more of an example. So a bit of a blind corner, checking my mirror, come off the power. Because it's downhill, I'm going to have to brake. It's got a wee bit of a sharper corner. I'm going to go into third gear, and I've brought the speed down to 25, and it looks okay around the corner. That way, if there was a parked car or something round the corner, I could easily park if I needed it. I could easily stop or whatever if it was a car that was stopped. I'm going to go into this car park. So interior mirror, right door mirror, signal right. I'm braking. It's quite blind around here, so I'm going to have a look. Looks okay, so I'm driving in. Now, with all these cars parked here, this car park might be really full. So I'm going to slow it down. I'm going to go into first gear, and I'm going to see if we can go forwards into a space, okay? So there's a space on the right here beside the Mini, so I'm getting myself as far as I can to the left here, and then that'll create some room so I can turn in. So then from here, I'm going to do big steering, and that should take me round and in. And then I'm just bringing it in and then straightening up. Okay, so it might be, I've had this car park quite a few times in tests recently, and sometimes if it is as busy as this when they go in, if there's no space, they might just turn you in. If there's no space, you just do a lap and then you leave and they go and do another manoeuvre. It might be you come in and there is a space, but you sort of go past it and you have to do a second lap to come back to it. Because it's one way, you'll be driving through the car park in the centre. So in that case, because I chose a space on the right, I want to get as far left as I can to create that turning space to turn in. And it would be the opposite. If I was going into a space on the left, I want to go as far right to create that turning space. So the examiner would now say, like, I'm happy, I'm in the space, I can see the space beside me, and I suppose because I'm between the cars, I kind of must be in the space, like more or less, as long as they're appropriately parked. So the examiner is going to say, right, when you're ready, leave the space, leave the car park. It's one way, the car park, so you'll have to, the examiner will tell you that because the road markings are faded, but after reversing out, you're going to have to go that way. So that would mean that when I reverse back, I'll need to steer to the right to make the back of the car go round to the right. Because I have this red parked car beside me, I can't just steer straight away because the front corner would hit this red car. So I'm going to have to go back straight to begin with until I'm happy there's enough space for me to turn the car like around without the front corner getting too close or hitting this red car. So I'm going to go back straight until I feel like maybe my knees are getting out the space and then start to steer. Okay, so let's give this a go. I'm going to go into reverse. That'll put my reverse lights on. I'm going to check both shoulders before I go. I'm happy with what I see. It all looks okay. So I'm going to start to go back slowly. So I'm going back slowly and I'm just checking as I go. I'm just going back straight at the moment. That's my knees getting to the end of the space. I'm going to start to steer gently, but I'm paying attention to the front corner and this red car. I've now cleared it so I can go all of my steering now. And I'm looking round and I'm happy at the moment that I have some space between me and the cars behind. I'm still checking both shoulders as I go. And I'm going back. And I get to a point now that I'm getting closer. I've still got space, but I don't want to go too close. But I know also that I can now get round going forwards. So I'm happy I don't need to go any further back. So I'm going to go into first gear. Because the car park's a slight hill, just so that I don't do any like unnecessary rolling, I'm going to put my handbrake on, get my feet ready with the biting point, quickly check that no one's like walking through, driving through. It's all good around me, and I'm just going to do big steering, but going slowly, making sure I don't release the clutch too quickly. I can make the car go slowly around here. It's quite a fiddly car park here. It'd be worth, if you're out with your instructor coming into this one, to have a wee look at it. And then as I leave here, I'm taking my time. It's like a wee turning circle, almost like a wee roundabout. I'm just checking that no one's coming in, because sometimes, especially when it's full, you'll have people coming in and then parking in these areas here, but you might have some people coming in to drop people at the station, and they might come in at speed, so you just got to watch. Like the final parked car makes that blind. Turning right at the end, interior mirror, right door mirror, signal right. Checking my mirrors just as I come back after that car, just to my side of the line, and then I'm arriving slowly, looking both ways. I'm happy with what I see, so off I go. It also changed into a 20 there, like coming that way. You'll then see the 20 on the lamppost here. So yeah, I just got to make sure that I don't go over 20, which feels very slow on this road because not much is happening. Up here we've got quite a tight corner round to the right, and a lot of people hit the curb on this corner. So I think it gets narrower. If you look at the curb on the left, you'll see where it's black. You kind of want to sort of stay beside that, but obviously try not to hit it. I think what happens is, I think the reason people hit it is they don't really look at it properly, and if somebody comes over the bridge as they're coming in, they sometimes go sort of wide and sort of hit the curb. Now I've got a guy that's now overtaking me. This would be your reason you would check your mirrors before moving out, because yeah, the guy's not going to do 20. There's a car coming through there towards us, so I'm not going to go in because it's not my right of way. So I'm just going to wait here because there's not an obvious place to pass them. So I'm just going to wait here, and now that guy's signalling to go off, I'm happy to continue. So I'm going to check mirror, mirror as I move out. The Audi that's coming out of that junction shouldn't come out, but I was ready for it to possibly do it. The reason it shouldn't come out is it's not on this road yet, so I have right of way over that Audi. I'm going to turn right into this road. So mirror, mirror signal. I'm happy ahead. When the centre of this road lines up with my knee, I'm going to do big steering as I go in. But yeah, that would be one that you've got to be paying attention to, that Audi. She did it really well. She didn't come out. It was perfect what she did. But yeah, you're really second guessing, because yeah, I would say that 50-50. Sometimes they will come out, and yeah, it's you then just have to react to that. I'm going to turn left up this road coming up. So I'm going to do interior mirror, left door mirror, signal left. And I'm just going to be following round with the curb here. And I'm just sort of staying tucked to the curb, in sort of in front of these cars to have a look through. It looks okay, so I'm going to check mirror, mirror before I move out. If it didn't look okay here, because the parked cars keep on changing from, you know, they're on the left, they're on the right and the left, I might just wait there if I saw somebody coming through, because it doesn't look that nice to go in and meet somebody coming like down the road. It looks like it could be quite tricky. Looking through here, I'm ready to give way if I need to. It looks okay, so I can widen and go through. Find a safe place on the left to pull up and stop. So I'm going to do mirror, mirror signal. I'm going to bring it in, and yeah, it's maybe not the best place. I'm going to stop just here on the speed bump, but yeah, I'm back for everything. I'm struggling on this route to find places to stop because it's quite parked up. Okay, when you're ready, off you go. So I'm going to get the feet ready, check mirror, mirror, right shoulder. All looks good, so I'm going to do a wee signal to say I'm going to go, and then off I go. But yeah, I just didn't want to be too close to that junction, and obviously not blocking the driveway. So there's a car coming, so I'm just going to stay here, so I'm just waiting back, but still on my side of the road, but I'm out enough that I can see. And then when I'm happy, I'm going to check mirror, mirror, and then off I go, just checking I'm all good to move out of the way. As I follow around here, I'm going to be taking the road on the right coming up. So this road here, so I'm going to do mirror, mirror, signal right. I'm neat to the centre of the road, looking ahead looks okay. When the centre of this road lines up with my knee, I'm going to turn in and then round I go. Again, looking up here, lots of parked cars on that side. If somebody was halfway down that road, I would have to wait before going in. There'd be absolutely no point in me going in when they're coming down, because yeah, we're not going to get past each other, so it's just going to come to a standstill. And I'm going to turn right at the end here, so mirror, mirror signal. A wee uphill junction, so I'm going to do light braking, clutch down into first. And then I've braked enough it's not going to go out. Before it rolls back, push my accelerator, lift my clutch just to the biting point. That will hold me still. And then I'm going to use the clutch control, keeping the accelerator steady, use the clutch to move forward. There's a van coming along here, but it's turning in. I'm just edging to see past and sort of round the road bends round the corner there. I'm just having a look. It looks okay, so round I go. I'm going to turn left up this road here. So mirror, mirror signal, and then following round with the curb as I come in. Looking up, I've got a couple of parked cars there, no one's coming through. Again, if somebody was on their way through there, you're just going to have to wait and let them exit that narrow bit before you go in. Really fiddly, these bits. Turning left at the end, mirror, mirror signal, and then I'm already down in first gear, and I'm just going to squeeze my clutch to the biting point, coming round with the shape of the curb. And for what I can see, it looks okay, but I can't see like loads because of the parked cars. So I'm bringing it round, keeping it tucked in behind this car. And then having a look down the road, it looks okay, and I'm just going to start to edge my way back out, and away I go. And then looking down here, at the moment it looks okay ahead, but what would be a good idea to do as you go down here is keep thinking about where you could stop if you meet someone. So I've got a space there, it's kind of running out of spaces now. At a push I could squeeze in here if I needed to, just enough to get past. Now there's nowhere to really stop at the moment, so you're just hoping you don't meet anyone, but you're looking and trying to you're trying to have as much of a plan as you can, mirrors as you move back over, so that you're not just going in with no plan and just continuing to go in thinking, oh, I hope this works out, because yeah, it might not. Turning left at the end, mirror, mirror signal, braking, clutch down into first before it curves, come round with the shape of the curb. And I'm looking, and it looks okay. Now I'm going to be moving out here gently. This lady's crossing the road, so I'm just going to let her complete crossing the road. And I'm going to come in behind this car and have a look down. It looks okay to continue, so I'm just checking as I go out, and away I go. What I've got to be careful of there is I don't just come out the junction and then just right round that parked car, because if like the van and stuff's coming up, then I'll just be going straight towards that, and that wouldn't be correct because the parked car would be my problem. So it would be wrong of me just to drive straight towards it. Looking down here, the crossing lady's at the side there, that's all okay, but I'm ready for her to maybe step out. And then it looks okay to go past these cars, so I'm checking mirror. Okay, right, I'll wait here. So that guy, probably, that's okay, it's awkward for them. I have right of way over them because they're not on this road, but yeah, they're all just going to drive at me. So this is the scenario with that Audi I was talking about earlier, that it's 50-50, and you will get people who just push out. Okay, so it looks okay now, so I'm just checking my mirrors, and out I go. And then I'm going to turn right at the end, so mirror signal, and yep, you'll get someone like this, it'll drive straight at you, so you'll just be ready to move back. And when the centre of this road lines up with my knee, I'm going to turn in, looking at this crossing guy, and he's okay. That car I think should give way in there, along with the car behind it, so I'll give them a wave to say thank you. These cars should wait in there. I'm just watching this wee girl, but she's with her, like, with an adult who's got her hand, so that should be okay. Watching these guys here, I'm just leaving the car. I'm doing 9 miles an hour. That feels perfect through there with everything that's going on. This guy should wait here, so yep, they're waiting there. That's great. Now, as we drive along here, we're going to do an angled start to sort of pretty much finish. So the white car in the distance here, the examiner might say, can you pull up in front of that, leaving yourself enough space to get away. So getting quite close to it, but leaving yourself enough space to get away, not worrying about the drivers on this occasion. So mirrors and signal, I'm bringing myself in, I'm going up in front of it, and I'm stopping here. So that's brilliant. And then the examiner will say, that's great, drive on when you're ready. All they're looking at here is, can you pull away with this parked vehicle in front? Like, will you have the control to go, you know, gently out and round it, or are you going to jump off your clutch and end up sort of shooting either towards that car or diagonally right out across the road to the other side? So at the moment it's quite busy with stuff coming up, and there's stuff behind me, like sort of waiting to go past and stuff. So I'll just sit still as they all sort themselves out, and then once they've all sorted themselves out, I'm going to make the move if suitable. So it's let's see, the guy behind is going to move now. There's a few things coming up the road, nothing else behind me. There's a minibus and stuff. I'll just wait for the minibus to go through. Once the minibus has gone through, I'm going to make my move. So I'm going to go clutch down to first gear. Another car just arriving behind the minibus, so I'll wait for that. It's still okay behind me at the moment, just looking, I'm just keeping an eye in this mirror. Of course I will check my right shoulder before I go. So it looks okay, so I'm checking mirror, right shoulder, signal on. And then when I release the handbrake here, I'm keeping the clutch just where I get movement. So it's only like sort of a little bit up. Once I've done my steering ground, I'm now going to bring my clutch the rest of the way up, and that will mean that my power gets delivered in a more sort of like controlled way. Straight on, following the road ahead, second exit. So I'm checking the mirror, braking. There's a van coming round, so I'm going to have to give way. So I'll go into first gear. I'll be keeping a left position on the roundabout. After this car, it looks okay. So setting my accelerator, lifting my clutch, and I'm just staying round on the outside. On this wee straight, I'm going to go first to second, and round I come. Now as I come round here, I'm going to leave here. So mirror signal, and then round I go. Looking through here, looks okay. This is a horrible bit just to finish. So I'm coming out, and I'm going past these cars, and I'm happy with what I see. So I'm coming round, and I don't want to get in the way of people who are coming back for their test, because the test this afternoon will be finishing any second now. So I'm going to stay just the way you would normally turn in there to go back to the test centre. Looking through here looks okay, so I'm checking the mirrors to go round, and then I'll turn left into this road. So mirror signal. Now I see a parked taxi on the other side of the road. That'll force traffic coming towards me on the other side of the road, like on the wrong side. So that guy's got enough room to give way, so they should give way. However, yeah, like they might, if that van was there as well, I might have to let them come out, but I could see there was a space for them to give way, so I expect them to do so. But yeah, I'm ready that I potentially might have to stop. So if I turned left there, that'd be me back at the test centre. As I say, I don't want to get in the way of anyone doing their test. Hopefully you found that video helpful. It has quite a lot of back roads, quite a lot of common things that happen on these back roads with the narrow bits, with whether it be a bridge or just a narrow section of road. Basically, most of it is like, try to always be going at a speed that you could stop within the distance you can see. So everything kind of starts by checking the interior mirror, and then lowering the speed if necessary, being ready to stop if necessary. As long as you do that, then I think you'll find that you have no problem on the day. And that's probably that sort of test route, or a variation of that test route, can be used quite regularly in the Currie area. And it's maybe not what you associate as a test shoot for Edinburgh. It's more sort of, I don't know, something you would maybe imagine happening sort of on some country roads or something, like way up north in Scotland. So yeah, it's very different from if you've been learning all about like sort of big roundabouts and stuff. Yeah, it maybe is like a nice surprise, but if you've not practiced it at all though, then maybe it will be quite difficult. So yeah, it's worth either watching this video a few times and just getting into the sort of rhythm and the sort of things that might affect things. And if you did have a chance to, whether it go out privately with your family or friends, or out with a driving instructor to go and look at some of these areas, I think that would help massively. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below, and yeah, I'll try and keep making some of these videos. I know that some of these areas I'll have driven before, but if I keep on driving some of them, I'll get different scenarios each time, which might help build your foundation of knowledge and sort of get you feeling quite confident for the day. So yeah, I hope it's helpful. Best of luck. Let me know in the comments if you've enjoyed it, or if you've used them if you've used the videos for like in preparation for your driving test. Always great to hear, and it keeps me encouraged for making more. So yeah, best of luck until the next video. I'll see you then. Thanks.